You guys, you're everybody's favorite.
I know. But I'm good, yeah. Whatever he wants, we're going yes.
Thank you in advance.
I was joking, just, that was a joke. I'm in here in Brian's. We've got apple fritter in. Oh, that's right, he said he wouldn't be here this week. He's gonna be this month. Yeah, right. Which is what I said, it's not like, it just extends the time. Can't see it. I didn't leave from the house, I didn't see you. I know.
I'm playing 80.
You were hoping I wasn't here yet, that's what it was.
No.
Next door.
Yeah, he was a
Big.
Demerits that. This will go down on your permanent record.
Yeah. None of them might. Iggy says there's a box underneath there. Hold on. So they're both on those. And I've got the soundboard up there all the way up.
It says no device connected, so I'm fine.
Where's this here?
You still lit up?
Okay.
You try to have.
That's okay. I don't even have it, so don't worry about it.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you guys want to record that? It's obvious there's no device connected, so this is.
It's my first time.
You're not here to tell them how you want to do it.
Check the power bar.
I'm totally that's so good. I'm at the right spot.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just like, oh,
Typical. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was 24.
I've been paying attention. And you're gonna sign
Let me see if I can fix this.
You know, there's no way.
Just be small.
Justify my building improvement. That's what I.
But it has blue light on.
It was on that, I just removed it.
These are all on.
Everything goes probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So 33 was already in effect.
Oh, you're right.
Whatever you turn down, whatever you push, turn them all. See, they weren't like.
Yeah, they're off now. Yeah, well, it's gonna take a second to reboot. Yep, so stinky. Now they're on set line.
There we go.
When in doubt, reboot.
Thunderstorm. That's what.
Steve?
Yeah, my thunderstorm. Oh, yeah. He's going to that bit. All right, we good? Here, we good?
Call the meeting to order, 7:04 PM. Everyone can rise and recite the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gerald? Roll call.
Mr. Van Dam. Here. Mr. Stem.
Here.
Abrams absent. Mr. Cox is present. Mr. Butcher. Here. Mr. Dodson. Here. Mr. Collins.
Present.
Approval of the agenda is presented. Look, okay with it? Any changes?
So moved.
So motion, Commissioner Sip to approve the agenda as presented, support? Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries unanimously. Approval of minutes from Wednesday's meeting, April 1st, special meeting. A lot of coverage and not, seeing typos. So we just approve them.
How you gonna feel? Okay. Jeez. How you gonna deal with that? Body's letter. That affect the minutes.
Body's one.
Your letter. What that is. Oh.
She didn't have a letter, she just made recommendations or gave her.
Well, she said we had to re-vote on.
I don't believe it changes what we did at the meeting.
Yeah, they changed what we did at the meeting.
I believe the minutes are accurate. I'll motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and support to approve the minutes of April 1st as presented. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda, new business consideration action items.
So. You wanna add that to new business or?
Her letter, it's already on there.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. Some,
Oh, never mind.
yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Old business. Item 7, discussion of amendments to Article 5, Section 5.05F, off-street parking development regulations and alternative parking services and request to set a public hearing date. Do you have any comments or?
Good evening, everyone. What you have in your packets are two copies. One is a clean version with all the accepted track changes. You can read them in entirety. I've also, for record, put in there the track changes copy that the attorney, Kerry Bondi, had provided you all. There is only one change, and I'm trying to find it here. One word. Bear with me. For some reason, the print does not come out as accurately as I want. I can pull it from my computer. In the second, third page.
Is there spelling correction, Alex, or is it?
Yeah, that's all it was. It was an alternative. Alternate, that's what it was. I recall. You know, it's, I mean, it's very minor. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, it's the same document you everyone saw. There was one marking here, but the track changes is not showing up very well on the copy.
Is it where it says alternative and everything else says alternate? The alternate parallel parking is alternate parallel parking, but then an alternative parking
Yes,
needs an alternative.
that's correct,
approval.
yeah. Just to be clear.
There's a slight difference in, I believe, number 8.
Yeah,
As we go through, because that was a discussion of, where it had to be paved from and paved to. And when it comes off the road, your approaches. I'm going by a copy that was from last January. Okay, to today's, from the paved village roads must be paved from the required roadside building line to road pavement and the right-of-way line, regardless of whether or not the connecting parking lot's paved. And reading now, I believe is a little different than that. All approaches paved between the connection of the road pavement and the right-of-way line, regardless of whether or not the connecting parking lot is paved. So it's real close. It might just be cleaned up. But what was taken out looks like it is the required roadside building line.
no, I don't recall that. I can just say, so the last copy everyone had seen last month to this copy that you have in front of you that's cleaned up is there's one word, and I want to say it was an 8D. I want to say it was
We have 2 8s. We have 2 8s, I thought. 2 8s, we have 2 8s.
that 8 was not changed at all, so it was, I think it was an 8D. Sorry, my memory serves correct. For some reason, I'm showing up in mine.
We have 2 8s. Well, it's supposed to be lined out, it looks like.
So the way it was formatted in that case, that the numbering should switch, of course, from 8, after 8 to 9, and then 10 on page 3.
7, A through I, correct? Oh, I see what you're saying. So 8 should be 9, 9 should be 10, 10 should be 11.
And that second 8 is the one that we were discussing, how far back you bring that. Because right now, the newest copy says to the right-of-way line, we were discussing that we come back to the road
The road.
setback line.
Mhm.
on the
Yeah.
Right-of-way.
Right, which is the way it was before.
Which, yeah,
Right.
I think I would support that. Yeah, unless,
Absolutely, I mean, that's what causes the most damage without, especially with an alternate surface. On the
close to the
premises.
road, so
Right,
this
right,
gives you a little more cushion there.
Yeah.
To put the alternate surface.
So it should say, all approaches to paved public roads must be paved between the connection to the road pavement and the, not the right-of-way line.
Correct. Because this was exactly, the first one said right of way, then we went through it again, they changed it to road setback.
Road setback, right.
Line. And now it's back to right of way, so I think that's still, something.
You have that January version?
I have 3 different versions.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, and, the first one I think was in December, we opened in January, and we made a little change.
Yeah, we didn't meet in February or March, then we met in April. So,
And was,
so it should read, all approaches to paved public roads must be paved between the construction to the road pavement and the road setback line, regardless of whether or not the connecting parking lot is paved.
that would be a way to.
Road setback line would be several things. Are you regarding setback of the building, setback of the what? The right of way is clearly defined,
So you were saying,
The wording that was used in general was required roadside building line. So that would clarify that.
that means then you would have potentially paved area,
Could be 50 feet, could be 150 feet. The building itself is your measuring stick.
the right of way is agreed upon of typically 66 feet.
I think that our setback would be the required building line. If they choose to put the building back farther, they don't know that that moves that line back farther. So now they're exceeding the requirement.
we discussed this, so if we say the building needs to be 100 feet back, they decided to put 200 feet back. The non-paved starts past the building.
Well, that's not how it was said.
That's what we discussed.
That was one of the discussion points.
Yeah, because if not, you're gonna have paved for the first, we'll say 100 feet, then non-paved for the next 100 feet, then the building starts. I thought we said up to the building, to the rear building setback, then it can be, or even the front, it just says the front. But anything in front of the building has to be paved, the back can be the
That was
outside parking.
definitely one of the discussions.
I thought that's where we landed. So,
At one time, it was delineated in feet.
Right.
Isn't the right of way line
pretty defined.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's not very far off the road.
Right.
Right, I mean, that's the way I look at it. You know, if we got a parking area goes all the way back and then we build in one in front of it.
Every road's different.
Yeah, based on.
Road classification.
Setback lines are more by zoning parcels and developments on the road.
Correct.
But the setback's just the minimum, correct? You could actually set the building back farther.
They could. So that's our,
If you distinguish that as setback line, you could have a building 100 feet behind the setback line.
you could, that's the discussion going on, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I thought when Iggy was talking, the front of the building would be a good breaking point. Because
And-
front, back, anything on each side is the side of the building.
Correct. So if he decides to put the building, I'll make up a farther number, 1,000 feet, then you're paving up to the
You
front of
gotta
the building.
pave it all the way back to that.
Correct. And then after that, you can go proverbial park.
Makes it pretty simple.
Oh, I would,
So we say right away to the front of the building?
no, I say you need to
To pave up to the front of the building.
Yeah.
and that's
A pretty, I mean, that takes
out
out
any equation, you know.
where the front of the building is.
The question then becomes if you're gonna allow parking on the side of the building, which is
Very common, and you do
not
not,
pave it,
then you're gonna have
dirt, debris, stones, whatever.
coming off the pavement, and then depending on the distance, it's gonna make its way to the roadway, to the road commission.
Right, absolutely.
Parking lots are covered,
The parking lots are covered, right?
Yeah.
so I think that,
So do we want to say the front of the building or rear of the building?
I think, front, you know, because you could put.
Because you can put your fence off the front.
Absolutely.
That's why, that's why we the front. I originally said the back of the building, that way, I was just saying, but what if they fence it off? And it's there. Yes. So,
Should you define what the front of the building is? Because
There should be a definition.
what are you thinking, a quarter mile or something, Brian, or, well, if I set my building back 100 foot and that's my park, so that, hey, 6 foot, I'm in front of the building. I see what you mean.
Call it the front building line, because then it's.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, front building line, because I see what you're saying, because what if it's just here, but you're, and I don't want to beat this horse, but I'm thinking of this building. So we could have this side parking lot all gravel.
You could, but then
I
I think from the
dive into this,
all your paved area should be,
all your parking areas should be paved.
exception of agricultural districts. If my memory serves.
So I think it'd be sufficient to say in this text amendment for number 8, there should be 9, is that all approaches are paved to public roads must be paved between the connection of the road pavement and the front of the building line, regardless of whether or not the connecting parking lot is paved.
So. More funky, but gets you there.
Then you're saying then, well, now 8, but we have marked down 7, will cover.
If we read.
Well, access parking in the rear.
Well, I was looking, if you're, in number 8B, it's sort of discussing what we're talking about there, about the must be located either in the rear yard of the parcel or a minimum of 300 feet from the front property. So,
If there's a building like this building,
if it's 100 feet off, then it could be in the rear, okay? Of the parcel. If it's farther than that off, then we would have to go back 300 feet. Before they can start.
and this building is, how long is this building?
I think it's 200 feet.
200 feet, that's what I was thinking, 220 maybe. So we're what, 50 feet off the road?
Yeah, 60 maybe.
So. Could almost all be paved anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not really a big fan of 300 feet.
I think it needs to be in the rear of the parking, or no, 300 feet from the property line. 300 feet of the
Property line becomes cumbersome when you're measuring any given property as to you're thinking through how a building is located, the use. I mean, the fact is you want alternative parking
in the rear of the building,
not the front or the side.
which if you're in a corner lot, you essentially have 2 frontages. So, you know.
we kind of figured 300 feet from the front property line was enough where the, we'll say the gravel parking lot starts behind it. It won't track the dirt to the front, it'll still stay in the front. So for example, we use this parking lot again, if the tennis courts was all parking, it was all gravel, and someone's, what we've had the last 5 days, starts tracking the dirt, rock, and everything, by the time it gets to the road, it's gonna stay in the plane, it won't collect it. So I can't remember the 300 feet was calculated somehow, I remember having a discussion, how long is it? Or somebody, there was some calculation of why 300 feet, and it was like, what it would take for tire debris to come off a vehicle. And I think it was like 235, and we went 300 just so it doesn't build and build and build. When you get rains like this and it washes it all.
The other item I wrote down was really pushing myself. When we go to number 1 is for where it's required. Going forward, be able to accept those for single family homes. It did not exempt ag out of that list in that paragraph.
Wasn't ag separate though?
Well, no, I don't think it was. I was trying to see that. It's grouped in age.
You're saying in 1 it should be,
Grouped in age. I had a little note that was struck out, but then it would have to have been also added exempt in 1. If you want to strike it out, you have to put the difference.
but if we put it in 1, we don't have to put it in H. You just don't think it's covered enough in 8H?
It's no different than any other commercial development. What's this the way it is?
If we put it in 1. And you're saying all off-street parking lot provided space for more than 4 vehicles, except those for single-family homes and agricultural, shall comply with the following development regulations prior to the issuance of any certificate of occupancy, except as specifically stated otherwise. To me, I think it's the same, but I don't care to move it to 1. Does it? Alex, is there a reason why would? To me, I think it's the same, but if we move it in 1, it's very well.
Talking about F1 on the first page.
F1, yes.
So my first question is what's the requirements for a single family home? Typically, a single family home, your parking requirements are for 2 parking spaces. And if you're requiring paid parking or not, so then we say, well, you're providing 4 parking spaces for your single family home, so therefore it needs to be paved. Well,
I thought it was except
Except for single.
except for single family.
Yes.
Except for single family. Okay, so
You've got, single family driveways that hold a lot more than 4 cars.
Sure.
And same thing on the ag, that's what I'm saying.
yes, so challenge I have with time looking at your zoning ordinance, I think there's no secret to any of you guys, is the level of redundancies that keep occurring is that if single family homes are exempt from this requirement, which I'm pretty sure you gotta state this somewhere else in the parking requirements, we're stating that again here. And so now we're saying that if the parking lot provides a space for more than 4 vehicles, this is
as commercial or industrial uses.
So, the first thing you were stating here is if you have less than 4 parking spaces,
Which would be,
highly unlikely, given that a commercial space, based on your table of requirements, is gonna have to have at least 6 plus ADA compliant. I mean, it's almost irrelevant that we're even
making the statement to any degree. So,
I think it's well intended, but at the same time, we're forgetting the fact that there's the greater zoning ordinance that states a lot of these things that you have in here, so.
So you say we don't even need one at all, not one at all?
I mean, no,
No. I mean, it goes back to making sure things are in their right places, because we have
standards that are being duplicated time and time again. You know, and then you change one, you have a contradiction in another area, and then it becomes very problematic.
So are we looking at taking out the whole thing or just counting the number of for the 4 vehicles? The number of vehicles allowed, because that would be the part that's common to almost any commercial development, so we'll go with that anyway.
I don't even know this is the point.
Maybe something great. Okay, there's some,
You're saying strike number 1 in its entirety?
It's up to the commission.
I mean, you guys have been working out that, I'm kind of jumping here at in the middle of it all, but, not sure,
I think the intent here is to
how to make things,
somewhat flexible, but at the same time,
or requiring paid parking for any commercial industrial use. And you do a hard test on anywhere that's got less than 4 parking spaces.
Thinking about there is, home businesses.
well, home-based businesses are,
Yeah, I understand that.
You know, we've had it before where it's,
you know,
our whole front yard, no grass is all parking and whole other set of ordinances.
yeah, but you're already exempting single-family homes, so
Single, you know,
a home-based business is a use.
for single family, so you're already excluding that here with single family homes.
Yeah, no, I think it's something that's being kept over. I think you guys inherited a lot of this stuff, and so,
Some cases plus is more.
I mean, I'm okay with striking it, but I think it's, for ag, I think it's fine under 7 or. Under 8H, I think it covers the ag. Striking out F1 out of its entirety, making F2, F1, and that's the only. Go from there. Well, actually, move it back up.
and the challenge with H is you're saying special alternative parking may
Only be approved in ag, PS, C3, or I1.
So may is, it could be approved.
Yeah, compared
I
to,
think the question comes into where is other? What is the other required? This is the option.
Probably, like in the off-street parking requirements within the ordinance itself.
Where is that in an ag district? I don't,
Well, ag is exempt.
okay.
My,
well, there says it may be exempt. Where do we have it where it says it is exempt?
I think that's my question. Right.
Yeah.
Where does it actually say that?
I'll be honest, I read it 3 times, I didn't see the may be exempt.
So, right,
Should be exempt, or is exempt.
so it is.
8H, do we wanna change the may to shall? Is that what you were looking at earlier?
No, shall would mean that then you are required to approve it, which is such a parking may.
We wanna leave it open for C3 and I.
Oh, well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, right.
We're saying ag is exempt. The other ones may be exempt if you come from us.
Right, I mean, with that site plan, we left it open,
Yeah.
fixing this.
Yeah, in this case, it actually, the may is the better option.
Yeah, it fixes development or does not.
We can make one all-street parking lot providing spaces, we can put 4, we can make one ag is exempt, or do we put it in the F part right at the beginning?
It goes in one.
And I think it just takes place of one, we strike it as written, and then we put such alternative parking is exempt, is only exempt in AG.
Which one are we in here?
The one again, strike it as it's written, and we just add, in its place we put, such alternative parking is exempt for an AG zoning district.
Yeah, and so my comment to that would be, that should not be here. Buried down in your alternative parking, off-street parking development regulations. That should be in your section 505, off-street parking loading. You have your off-street parking requirements, existing parking facilities, parking space loading, stacking, storage, site approval, general requirements. So you have to talk about single family, two family, which ag is, and we agree is a single family district. So I would think that type of language shouldn't be in this part, it should be somewhere else where it just states that right on the front beginning, so you're not digging through to find.
I would not disagree with that. No, I see what you're saying. Still strike it, take it out of
So you have,
AH, but add it in 5.
What number was that? 505,
well, it would be technically D possibly of exemptions here, it talks about that, you could create F and talk about,
Agricultural district exempt from
I thought
parking.
this was a.
I'm sorry, it'd be E1F, which
I have it right in front of me, looking at it. So,
Okay.
that could be noted for somewhere down the road.
not for-
So this particular,
we could work on this stuff.
Would it be appropriate to do that same night?
Since we're only talking about F, do we?
no, I would say that, no, I would say that
I would have to come back with
the memo and track changes.
what I want to change.
Um,
Talk about that.
you're talking about F right now, this would be E,
This would be another thing for
discussion
discussion
and
and
setting
setting
of
of meetings for that, but
I think this is,
if you were to ask me, I know you guys are working, this is another discussion, but I want
to sidetrack and keep it simple is, we're currently working on your master plan. I've always recommended to communities that I've worked with, that I've written their entire master plan and followed up with, at that time,
I guess it's always recommended, I recommend this as well, is
you would then write your ordinance.
on your master plan, because that's what the state requires. You can't have an ordinance that sits alone, it's based on the plan. So if you
You have a master plan that you have, and then adopt to write to do
ordinance amendments, or in my case, which I've written wholesale changes from front to back,
for some communities, that's the time to do it, is following your master plan.
so I think,
I don't think the earth is changing too much in terms of ag and parking right now, but I think that's something you want to pin in and say, we want to look at this.
when you rewrite your ordinance, if that ever comes, and that's something that this commission needs to determine, so. I don't like doing the whole thing piece by piece, and then you have a lot of fragmentations. Restructuring it at once is very useful.
So let's strike it.
Strike 1 out and then move F. 2 is 1, 3 is 2, and all the way back up.
nine, go back.
You go. You see where you're coming from, Alex. So we're okay with that?
So Chair, to be clear, number 8, you're making a change, you're removing right of ways in through the front of the building.
Front of building line.
And then the blue line.
You have anything else in here?
We also have new clarity on another piece of that we in the lots.
Okay, those are commercial. Else, anything else you can think of?
I think you do that.
We can beat up some more stuff if you really want, so I think we're good.
Let me get to my part.
Let's do that.
We need to vote to present this to the board for public hearing. Request of set public hearing.
Did you want to, public hearing here, or did you want to have the board sit back there, you said public hearing?
No, we probably set it here.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah, the public hearing is the final.
right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Change that.
Change it,
Absolutely.
Yes, at this point, must start for public hearing, right? We need to make the motion that we set a public hearing date. And support to it. Supported by Bill. What date do we want to set in the discussion portion?
What about the next ordinary meeting?
May 21st? To give you enough time, Alex, to strike that.
We want to June.
No, I'd say the next meeting.
I mean, whatever you guys want, it's up to you.
Yeah, that's June.
I'm not here either.
Also June.
Let's go June, because we got 2 of us will be here. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going 13th.
I said we go June.
I don't know if Don's gonna be here either.
Do you want to set the public hearing for the first, Thursday of the month and have that? No, okay. I just use, yeah.
When I won't be here either.
Oh, all right.
So the 18th.
But you will be here June 18th.
June 18th. I will be
Okay.
here. Yes. June 18th.
Yeah. You may not. So then your motion is to set the public hearing on,
So Tim made a motion to make set the public hearing June 18th. Bill supported the motion. Any more discussion? Should we do a roll call or just call it out? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, reaffirm a motion to draft zoning ordinance amendment temporary moratorium on the data center, technology uses, and high resource demand uses. So we want, since it's already been published, we are allowed to do it. We did not post it on the door, so we need to, even though we did every other action correctly, so we want to reaffirm our motion that we passed last week, or last month, actually, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Which passed unanimously as well. Anyone have any questions on that? It was just the whole action item, just to reaffirm it, to make sure I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
So you have the old motion, if you could read it.
I have.
You got it.
Want to go with the old one? Same one we had.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just to remove any doubt.
Yep.
There's no loophole. I mean, this is,
There's a motion to recommend the township board proceed with the approval of the zoning ordinance amendment to establish a moratorium on technology uses, data centers, and other high resource demand uses that require significant amounts of electricity, water, and natural resources as presented by the planning commission with a maximum time limit of 6 months.
Are you making that motion to reaffirm?
Same one we had.
Second. Reaffirming the motion, made by Bill, supported by Tim.
I have one question, and this is 6 months.
not until after the second reading and then 7 days beyond that.
Board level.
Yeah, so it actually extends the time, the duration is still going, right? Not currently running.
Doesn't change anything.
No, it actually will make the moratorium last longer.
Yeah, no, I asked the same question earlier, it's like, well, if we kick it now, it's gonna take another month from there.
Yeah, but we'll have to have 2 readings from the
Those
board,
board,
and 7 days after that, it would go into effect.
That's going to the board next
It
week.
should be next Tuesday, yeah.
So. Yeah, so we did find it, it is 6 months.
Which was longer than the 180, so.
6 months is all we
6
can do.
months.
That's our ordinance, it's breaking our whole, no more term can last more than 6 months. And yes, we can extend it every 6 months if we want to, but that's. Yeah.
Well, I mean, until
Until they get a good attorney that says that's not right. But yes. But we can't set it right now for 6 months and 1 day. It's our whole question. So, any other discussion? Let's take a roll call, to be sure.
You have a motion to support that?
Yes, Bill. and Tim. Yep.
Mr. Vindale?
Yes.
Mr. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kucha?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins is a yes. Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
And, Mr. Chris?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. One not present, 6 yeas. To reaffirm the same motion that we made 2 weeks ago on April 1st. The sense of the board for the more plans. Next thing, agenda, other business, discussion of amendments to Article 5, Section 5.08, signs of clear quarter vision, nonconformity, and pole signs. So you want to take it away and give us a
Yeah,
synopsis?
Chair, so, hopefully everyone received my memo here. So it's come to my attention, there's been some discussion and some concerns around, the topic of signs, of course. And some of the language, clear corner vision, non-conformities, and pole signs. So what I provided you guys here is kind of not necessarily a technical analysis of me going in and providing you actual written copy of what my recommendation would be. This is overall an idea of the concerns that I have and some of the topics. So I'm gonna save you all from reading all of this because it's only a huge amount, but it's pretty straightforward in that the sense is, reading this is there were some some issues of concern, that make it a little bit challenging for, staff, planning commission, and the township as a whole to understand, what you're trying to achieve through signage, ordinance. Signage ordinance can be pretty technical and involve a lot of parts, but I think the issue here is we're seeing is that, some inconsistency. So there's a lot of consistency or, reliance on, either the building official or the planning commission, to determine what's allowable and not allowable. And that kind of gets you guys in a gray area, and that's an area I don't want any client to ever be in a gray area. You want to know what you're looking at, and what's required. The other part of, clear corner vision, it's to my understanding that your building official, Gary, has worked with other applicants to make sure that everyone's safe, that business is signed and it's located in the right area. So the language isn't necessarily as clear as you want. You have clear corner language both in 508 signage, you have also in 503 accessory structures, and you have, where it should be, 303 clear corner. However, there are areas that have varying, minimum requirements or maximum requirements in terms of 30 inches, 36 inches. So there's a level of inconsistency. If you are to have, and I'll probably sound like a broken record saying this, if you're going to have a statement of a standard, it should be in one place only, and you should cross-reference that to where to reference it. When you have it referenced 3 times with 3 different standards, some repeat part of it, some repeat none of it, very troublesome, and that's kind of the overall gist of what I see in your zoning ordinances. A lot of things are in here that are good, but they're all over the place, and they're not necessarily, in working order. So, I'd like to clean that up. There's also limited guidance on non-conforming signs. There is well-established literature that's been determined by courts and attorneys in terms of what is a non-conforming sign and how that works. So non-conformity exists, but in the event that, someone's working on one, you can't expand it, you can't enlarge it, you can't move it, and there should be language in there about, how would you potentially remove them. That's not pole sign, that's any signage. So, if a certain percentage of it, needs to be replaced, or monetary value, or better yet, I think the safest one, and the route that I would probably recommend ultimately is, if it comes down for any more than, say, 30 days, it doesn't go back up, it can't go back up. Or in the event that there is an abandoned business, and it's just sitting there vacant for quite some time, it can't just come back to life. So this is some of the kind of issues that take up time. I think maybe, I'm not sure how much you guys have seen it, but communities deal with it. And so my intent here is to kind of try to help, clean that up.
What do we have, only because we've had 3 tornado warnings,
Yeah,
good pole sign, solid, blows down. In the past, we've said, oh, you can't put it back up. The person's like, but I have that, and I'm losing that. And I go,
And I've been there. Yeah, I own a business that exact same thing happened. Only thing that tornado hit was the sign outside. And then we had to spend $15,000 for my business. That's a hurt.
Yeah, well, it should be probably, in my mind, maybe similar to the act of God that we would have in housing the same way for lots that are non-conforming that have a structure.
yeah,
what have you seen in other townships? Because I know that's happened more than once. I knew it happened to you, and I know it's happened to other people. And I remember the one, it's like that just killed our parking, our street view, because where the sign was at was up front. Now to put a monument sign there, it's like now it's blocking, people are pulling in and out of the driveway. What are we gonna do?
well,
So-
I'm gonna kind of throw it back at you guys. For the reason being, it's the question you need to ask. If the community believes that through its master planning process or issues that come up to you, or the staff, is if pole signs are an issue or not. Now, it's not to say that everyone gets a pole sign and just put them up, it's just there's regulations around that. Now, in the event that, just say hypothetically, you have a type of sign, I'm not gonna
sign, but just a type of sign. And the community said, we don't want this in our community. It comes down for any reason, act of God, whatever it may be, just can't go back up. And so, you know, ultimately, there are other options available for business to, or whatever it may be, have the appropriate signage that is in compliance with the ordinance as it is. Now, I understand that maybe it's not the same, but there is a process and an opportunity for someone to have a sign that is in compliance with what the vision of the community is and what the ordinance states altogether. Now, I know you guys have a lot of large businesses, you are near the way, pole signs are part of the community. It's up for you guys to decide. If you guys want to keep them, we can work around language that allows for them in a way that fits the manner that you guys want to have. But if they do come down, maybe they have to conform with what the ordinance is. And that's totally normal business that occurs in communities all across Michigan and America.
There's no presence of we're doing something wrong by the windstorm.
I think the challenge right now is you guys don't have anything that you can hang your hat on too well. What you've done is you've essentially conducted business and set a precedent of what this community wants. At the same time, you know, it's a little challenging when you don't have the language that supports what this community wants to see in terms of signage requirements. And non-conforming is part of that issue, because you have a lot of signs that can sit around. So it can exist, but if it comes down
For any reason.
for any reason, at the discretion of the owner or act of God, then, you know, if it doesn't come back up, type of thing. So, we can work on that. You guys can get an understanding of what you want. We have to at least establish some rules so that you guys can work within that. Sure. Rather than just kind of a free for all.
Any thoughts? I mean, obviously, I think that would be.
Well, hold on, I don't want to talk about that now. I just want to state here what, you know, kind of my memo states, but I just want to pencil that, I just want to, you know, complexity and organization of it all. I mean, there are numerous sign categories, there's numerous definitions. You have variations in several zoning districts, there's just multiple layers, special conditions. You guys have a whole host of layer upon layer upon layer. You know, the way I've written them, they're pretty clear. Anybody that with a sixth grade reading level can read and understand of what they're allowed, how much, and where. And that makes everyone easier. Maybe I'm pushing these.
You got a lower for me.
So, and also lastly here, I just want to talk about subjective or difficult to enforce standards. That goes back to it all. So, you know, you got temporary signs, you've got all kinds of weather-related conditions, which are just something I've not really seen ever. So the list goes on. There's a whole host of things in there. I just kind of wanted to keep it down to a focused area of what I think I would want to work on for your sign ordinance. If you guys are
saying
interested.
that you're wanting to evaluate the entire ordinance.
Yeah, I think I'm bringing the attention that I've been brought to by staff and other elected officials that sign ordinances need some help. I did a quick analysis of what you have here. This is kind of just a memo summarizing my findings. If you guys want, I could work towards a technical analysis of what I see. If you're good with that analysis, it's, you know, line by line of what I see, then I can kind of put pen to paper and present you guys with a draft for your consideration of what a sign ordinance language would look like to kind of clear everything up again.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for us to see A and B? It's, you know, it's frustrating to not always know exactly what is changed until we get to the application.
Yeah, no, that would not happen. No, I would provide you the technical analysis of showing you section by section of what's missing and the areas that you need to include or clarify. So you kind of understand the gist of what we're seeing. And if you're good with that, then I can proceed to a track changes copy, if you will, where you can see line by line of what's going on, what's coming in. so that it's not like, oh, there's a whole new thing I don't have to compare it to. Like, this is not the process at all. You guys need to know what is there, and that's for you guys for your consideration and input. And then we may have a revision or two, right, that works and fits the needs of your community. And then hopefully we come to a acceptable draft that you want to perhaps adopt. So it doesn't just happen in one meeting. It's going to be
Just like, most
like
things.
this. Absolutely. And you can see it there so that we're removing any of that confusion, so that you guys are having end product that you guys are confident in. And that's something that you guys are part of that process.
I would like to see the clear corner vision standard into one location and remove the inconsistencies and redundancies that there exist in the other locations that you pointed out. I think it should all be identified in 303. Maybe there. What do you think, Gary?
Al and I don't agree.
Well, let's hear it.
We do not agree.
Yeah.
I've been here 4.5 years, and I've had one instance where I've had an issue with a sign, and that was a pole sign put up illegally. So, clear vision, we have stuff in there for clear vision. He's right, I took it upon myself to make 7 Brew move their sign. They had it right next to their driveway where the sidewalk is. And our monument signs are allowed to be 8 foot tall. When you pull up there with a car, you cannot see traffic coming southbound. So they asked me my opinion, and I made them move it 100 feet to the north down the road. Most of the people will comply with our sign. I don't think it's intrusive. I mean, back in the day, we didn't want any pole signs. We had an instance a while back where the ZBA allowed a pole sign to be put up. That was just one instance, and all this is stemming from that instance. And I don't think there's that much wrong with our sign ordinance. All of a sudden, we're changing everything in our sign ordinance.
Do you think we should allow for the nonconformities or?
Well, okay, so that brings up a couple things that have come to fruition. Let me give you, for instance, there's a sign behind Chick-fil-A that belonged to Staples. It's been non-occupied with signage for, okay,
Yeah.
as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, our ordinance has a section in there where it allows us to order that sign taken down. And one thing I do agree with Alex on is any new signs that we do, if the business goes away, the sign should go away.
How long after?
I don't know. I
The
don't
only
know.
reason I say that is because there's sometimes a business might sit, building might sit.
I think 6 months,
Yeah, I was
maybe.
gonna say, 'cause sometimes it takes. 6
I'll give
months
you,
to
for
get
instance, where we allow that, or where I allowed that, Grumpy Goat on Dixie Highway, they just did a face change.
Yeah.
Joe's Frenchtown owned it, they did a face change and put Grumpy Goat on it, okay? Another one was a respiratory therapy on Telegraph, ATI is now Save Sliders.
Yeah.
They had applied for the sign a while back, they just haven't put it up, but they just did a face change on pole sign. Instances like that, I think 6 months is a good time frame. But here's the caveat. If we have to take a sign down like Crunch Fitness, we don't have any money to do that. So we order or take the tenant to court, and the judge says, you gotta take your sign down. We're in that route on that sign right now. They're not responding to our mailers, so we're gonna have to cite them, and we're gonna have to go through the court system to have to tear it down. So if we have some kind of bond in place or something like that, we'll just take it down.
But put a bond in place for a business going out.
Well, you do it before. It would be going forward with any new signs like that what we put up. We don't have a lot. We had a sign that was in bad shape, the A&W on Point of Road. It used to be a rotating A&W sign on it, and the wind blew the top portion of it down. They never fixed it, and it laid there, and it became a hazard. We sent them a notice, they took it down. So, I don't see a lot of hiccups in our sign ordinance. I just,
Those signs that you approved the last 8 years, not pilot,
expressway signs, and those are approved by you guys.
Yeah,
And they're potentially exempted in the current sign ordinance.
Correct, yeah, they're considered like a special use. So,
I just remember when we had to put blocks to the ZBA. I don't know if that's the sign you're talking about.
that's coming up for expiring too. It's right there, isn't it, Alex?
Say it again?
The Mall Road?
Oh, Marlboro. No, no, I'm talking about Love's gas station.
Oh, I'm talking about, there's a sign,
We granted the.
on Telegraph
Gave
that's
them 10
coming up
years.
expiring, I believe it's in June.
Oh,
Is
the one on Monroe.
Oh, I thought we bumped that in June, or for 10 years. That could've been 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, the one on Telegraph by
Yeah, I know
Applebee's.
exactly what you're talking about. I was on the board when we approved it.
Yep.
And it was maybe 5, I was 2 more years. Yeah, could've been 10, yeah.
I would just say that your orders, your sign language is not, it's to reinforce what you guys want to happen. And that doesn't happen in a silo, this is a decision that this commission needs to have in terms of what's there, because you do have nonconformities. What do you do with them? Because a nonconformity in all aspects can exist in perpetuity as long as it doesn't expand itself. But things do come down, do you allow them to go back up?
Or if there's, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
or if there's a cost that exceeds, say, 40% or
Sure,
something like that.
Sure, and that's something for you guys to decide as to where that threshold is for your community. This is not to say we're getting rid of signs, we're just trying to allow the language to allow normal business to be conducted so that, you're removing some of the discretion out of it, and so you guys know where everything stands, because, I'm not familiar with the case of allowing a sign to only last for 10 years and you extend it. That's, unique to your community.
You can do it once, you do it twice.
If it works for you guys, wonderful. I would say, well,
That was an unusual one. That was on both of those. by the way.
no, I'm not driven by that one all my life, going to see family in Ohio and all that, but, so, great, but what I'm trying to say is there needs to be some work done on it to help you guys, because there's not gonna always be that institutional knowledge of this commission or staff.
Right.
There'll be other stewards of the community in the future. I'm not saying anytime soon, but there will be. So what do you do in the event that, if there isn't that institutional knowledge that comes with it? So, my recommendation is, consulting is to make sure that you guys are on stable ground with this stuff. Because it does get
Sure,
tricky.
we're on green a little more. Right now, you got the knowledge and your figure, but we've also had.
well, I know in the future,
But I'm
like
saying in
6
the
feet.
past, we've had it to where it's been,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, and we're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I thought he was a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
And don't get me wrong, I got the opportunity to tour the city again last week, and there you guys have had a whole host of great investments in new businesses and great signage. It's worked out well.
Yeah.
But the way it's structured now doesn't necessarily say that, so that in the future, it may not, that could be challenged in some cases. So I'll make sure that
we
you
clean
guys.
it up and you make sure you're at that meeting.
I guess what I'm hearing, I think is clarity, if we need some clarity.
That's the thing.
Right. But to redo the whole, it sounds like our building officials saying it's somewhat enforceable the way it is, not doing a bad job.
And with all due respect,
It's
I'm
working.
saying-
It's been working, so.
But like Alex says, I'm not gonna always be here, so.
Right.
That's the only thing, and we've had that in the past where they've been, we shouldn't approve it, but let's throw 10 years on this and see what happens, and then we're forced to re.
I'll give you another good example, and it got approved in the past. Try driving out of, not Love's, what's this one, Pilot. Try driving out of Love's or Pilot and make a right-hand turn going to the expressway. I don't know how that sign got put up there, but it's an 8-foot sign and you can't see anything coming.
Yeah.
So, that's my 2 cents.
And some of it, no, I want to do 5 cents worth. And I'm agreeing, I think it's been great for the last 5 or 8 years, but you gotta remember before.
Right.
We passed something, and the one that sticks in my mind is, there by Fifth Third on Telegraph, not in front of Lowe's, It's in the
Yep.
detention pond.
Yep.
And that's not where we told them to put it. Well, then they built it there.
Yeah.
They said, well, according to your measurements, this is where it's gonna go, and the old building official went, it's fine.
You gotta catch this stuff ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly, and then this is like, we wanted to tear down a sign that was just built, that cost them $25,000.
We put a new monument sign in front of Walmart, and it's back far enough off of the intersection to where you can pull out and still see cars stopped. So, it can be done.
But
I
again,
guess
you
it's
caught
just
that,
a
but if you
little-
wouldn't have caught Seven Brew,
Right.
I guarantee you would have got 54.
Oh, you totally would. There would have been so many accidents in front of there, it wouldn't be funny.
So I will clear it up that way, because we've lost a lot of sign stuff where we've said, hey, the business has been closed for 8 years, we want to use it, we said no.
Yeah.
It got challenged, Kerry came in and said, you gotta let them use it.
Yeah, there's a monument sign in front of Chick-fil-A he'd love to use. You know what I mean? It's a monument sign, and it's in an easement that belongs to the state in the back.
Right.
And
when it was Ruby's
Dustin
days.
said he'd love to use it, you know, for advertising events and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. But what do we do? It's been sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
But is 6 months too short? I'm just asking.
I don't know, usually, you know,
Only because right now things are flourishing.
It may
I
be.
think back during the recession where it takes 8 months, once I close the
the
business.
construction doesn't go like it used to.
Exactly.
It's so held up in red tape that it isn't funny.
That's what I was saying, 6 months and someone doesn't.
I mean, even
know
if
that.
it was a year, I don't think it would be too long, but 6 months usually is a time frame for zoning to revert back. If you got a conditional zoning or something.
Well, maybe it could also be if there was a total demolition, you remove that, like we would do.
Totally.
Sure.
Like we would do with accessory structures on a property.
Yeah,
You
but
would
I
have
think
to
that's a
remove those as well,
Yeah.
unless it was part of a development after that. You know what I mean? If there's a
Yeah.
plan, maybe something like that.
Well, I'm just thinking, I'm gonna go into another township, the UPS down on Telegraph Road.
Yeah.
They closed down, I don't wanna say it properly, but they closed down. It's been 8 months.
Yeah.
2 people have almost bought it.
Mhm.
It's fallen through 2 times. I know there's no sign there, I'm just using an example.
Right.
Say there was
But
a
it
sign
was,
there,
right.
and now all of a sudden someone else buys it, and they're gonna go, well, we can't use the sign. Well, I wanted that sign.
Yeah.
You're telling me I can't because it's been
Right.
6 months? It took that long, because the first 5
Yeah.
months UPS said, we don't know what we're gonna do with it. Maybe we'll sell it, maybe we won't. Now, so you hate to put someone in a particular.
Right, absolutely, it's been.
But if UPS is coming down, yeah, the whole sign is coming down, the whole site is.
Right.
That's everybody understand.
I agree, I don't like the idea, I think we can. I do business already has plenty of expense.
And the one with that challenge, I still remember, this was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I think even longer, where Deb's Flores.
Yeah.
It was before her, the guy wanted to use the sign, he came in front of us, and I remember, because he was so nervous, and I'm like, we're all friends here, he was crying, because he goes, I just cry when I'm nervous, I'm like, it's just you and I talking, we got through it, he goes, I can't afford to tear that sign down, sure. And he goes, what if I don't light it up, I just wanna do a face change.
Yeah.
And, no, you can't do it, and 2 weeks later, our attorney went, and you're gonna wanna do it. He goes, yeah, we're just doing a face change, that sign is perfectly fine, you can't say, no, all we said is it's been closed down for 2 years. The guy used it as his personal business, for he just stored his cars there for a little while.
Yep.
And we're just like, yeah, but it wasn't a business, we gotta shut it down. That's why I'm just like, I just don't wanna be paying favors where we tell Brian, tear it down,
Yeah, I got you.
they don't. At least there's something to come back and say, here's what we do.
And the
I
building
think we got it
process
right.
is really dragged out now, so it could drag out 6, 8 months in the building process.
Sure.
Sure.
You know, heck, look at the gas station on the corner.
Yeah.
The first time I was out there, and it's still.
Yeah.
It's like that, right?
It was a-
The light comes in,
Oh, yeah.
so if there was a sign there, he's like, well, I can't use it now, I bought it, I got approval, but it's not, it's like, oh yeah, it's been 2.5 years, she's gonna put a shovel.
Use the phone, put a new monument.
Exactly. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. So I think we should proceed, Alex, I mean, I think I don't know if you want us to make some suggestions now, or do you want to just?
However you guys conduct business, you have to make a motion to say, yeah, proceed with some change for, some drafting of reviewing this. Yeah, it's up to you guys how you want.
Yeah, this is where we would initiate.
We're initiating.
The board's just gonna say, have them initiate.
Exactly. Tom, we take a motion on that? I will work on it. I don't know, past, we've just.
I would say you should just,
Or
if you're gonna.
you're Mr. Dot your I's across your T's.
I mean, like, like I've done this for a while, I'm just gonna say, like, you want to be, sure you have something to stand on so that the community knows. So it comes back to I know this is our first meeting working together. It's equal protection for the community, equal protection for the applicant in due process, right, under constitutional rights. So what we're trying to do here is, based on the vision of the community, what you guys are representing that, what are we trying to achieve so that everyone's aware of the process, so that, as stewards of the community, you're always trying to evolve and, not necessarily evolve, but, keep up with changing trends in your community, make sure that, you guys are carrying out that vision. So my analysis of just the sign components, that some concerns have come up, just how we can clarify that so that it just makes it easier for everyone to do business, and protection of the community as a whole.
No, make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go through what you presented.
Any discussion? The discussion I have is if you can concentrate on keeping it close to what it is, because we think we're good, other than cleaning up. I know what you mean, because I was part of adding some of that stuff, but we never.
So I'm not gonna get rid of what's good.
Yeah.
My intent is to clarify and simplify.
Sure,
So that when you look at it, you know what section you're in, what is required, and so that takes less interpretation out, so it's pretty clear.
And to Brian's point, a compare and contrast.
You guys will see.
Also, I also would like you to consider if an act of God takes it down.
Yeah.
It can be bringing trouble.
That's for you guys to decide.
Yeah, they have to come in front of us and we'll decide if that's a ZBA.
If you guys.
I know, but
No, there's given the opportunity there, Jared, to know.
So to that point, to answer the question, it's a great question, a statement or a question that is saying, okay, if something comes down, well, we're not saying that you guys have not made a determination of what type of signage you wish to see or not see. I'm assuming you guys want to allow for all of the sorts of signage in this community. Is that kind of what I'm getting at? And that,
I think it's location dependent.
location dependent.
Yeah.
Right, in what district? So then that'd be part of my technical analysis of that and asking you guys what you want to see or not. So then when I come back with drafting, you'll see that in there. So that is something for you guys to deliberate amongst yourselves is, well, great, if we're allowing all this type of signage and, we're not taking away the options, we're clarifying and reinforcing what we want to see and not see. So you guys will have that discussion in my technical analysis, which would be nothing more than breaking down what I'm seeing similar to this, but section by section, and also including what needs to be added.
And you'll take all three sections, I know what you're talking about, or put them in one stripe with the other, but we'll see what happens.
Well, it's hard for you guys to see, but what I'm gonna tell you is you will not see track changes next. What you're going to see is section by section, what's in there, what's good in my comment, my recommendation, and then what you guys want to do with it. Okay, so then you guys will check off and say, yeah, make that change, add that in there and get rid of that. It's up to you guys. That's how that works.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, discussion of amendment Article 5, Section 5.17, recreational equipment and vehicles and storage. Same rate as sign.
Chair, very similar. I provided you guys a memo. I got a free road bus tour of the beaches, of the parks, of all the parts of the township as a whole. You guys have a lot going on. You guys have quite a diverse set of uses and intensity of uses, from lakefront to highway to agricultural. So with that being said, it's come to my attention that there's been some concerns around recreational equipment, vehicle and parking and storage. Now, this is nothing new to, if you're in Michigan. Michigan folks wear lots of hats. We have all the seasons, we have all the toys, we do everything there is to do, right? And with that comes kind of this challenge of managing, recreational equipment. It's not to say you can't have it, it's not to say you can't park it. What we're trying to, here is to establish, like, in the sign ordinance, a framework of how that works. So, again, this has been a consistent theme, is you have a lot of, discretionary decision-making, by zoning permit, administrator, it could be permitted, may be permitted. It's challenging to determine the lack of clear definitions. You have hard or paid surfaces, permeable conditions, stabilized, there's all kinds of words in there. Overly complex lot configuration standards. I think whatever you guys do for zoning, you take it to the next level in this section, where it's like, I have no idea what you're trying to get to. Internal inconsistencies, of course. Are they required in the rear yard, or the front yard? It's a lot of confusion in that sense. Potential over restriction as well, in terms of determination of yard limitations and lot specific rules in there. I know it's well intended, but it just doesn't come out very clear. In limited flexibility for common situations as well. So what we're trying to do is strike a balance between allowing folks to park their boats in RV, but in a way that doesn't deteriorate the neighborhood and ensures that anything that is not well maintained or is in poor condition, isn't part of the context of the community. So lastly, I want to also add here as well is replace discretionary language of objective standards. Like I said, we want to make it clear and measurable. Key definitions are defined, configuration rules, align with setback and placement standards. Typically, nothing goes in the front yard, so nothing should be going in the front yard, and so perhaps both should be in the rear or the side yard, or whatever RV you may have. And so there's also should be definitions and standards of flexibility. We understand that folks pull their boat or RV, they unload for a day or two, they came from vacation. That's totally acceptable, and we want to make sure that we allow that as well. So there's some work to be done. I think it's challenging for anyone to, establish or make some headway in this sense, because once again, there's a lot of things in here and they conflict with one another. And there's nothing really set in stone in terms of how big it can be, where it can be, or for how long, and how is it parked. There's all kinds of accessory structures that are in poor condition that cover these boats or trailers or RVs. And that necessarily doesn't, benefit the health, safety, and welfare of the community. And that's what the ordinance is designed to do. So we want to give equal protection for both applicants that have boats, trailers, RVs, or whatever they may have, as well as community as a whole. So I think there's some things that we want to work on, and like I said, similar to this, I want to kind of do a technical analysis in terms of what sections need to be worked on, what needs to be added, and what needs to be removed, and go through that same exercise with you guys before I come back with any track changes. So
one of the things I would say is you need to get a hold of the ordinance pre-2018. I don't remember the section, like now it's 5.17, but
403.
you need to get the, what was it?
403.
Hey, thanks, Bill.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Somewhere right in that area.
Somewhere in that area. Prior, because that actually had, and was the intention, at least I still believe, was the intention of not only the planning commission, but the board to have, and somehow it's been lost in translation, and I don't know how that occurred, but we need to bring that back as the basis of what we're doing.
So if that exists, either staff or you guys can pass it on to me. I'll be happy to look at it, consideration what you guys have, but it's good to know if there's something that's going to be happy with.
I mean, of course, it could be improved, don't you saying that, but
Yeah.
it was working.
Somehow when we switched to 300, that whole section was like,
Agreed.
we just disappeared.
Just disappeared.
So
And we don't know how that happened
Yeah.
until thankfully it was brought up
Yeah.
by a resident.
So
There's
always this question about,
lakefront people. Now, lakefront people is,
the front yard is,
It's that water, it's water there.
well, that's not the front yard you're talking about. So,
well,
that needs to be,
somewhat addressed.
It wasn't the 200, it was in there.
Yeah, it was in 200, yeah.
Yes.
The front yard should be defined in the general ordinance of what a front yard is. And I understand
Except
that,
the lakefront.
Depends where it is.
yeah, and I understand that there's, like, I grew up in a lake community as well, in Oakland County, where, you know, I got toured back there, like, hey, this is pretty rough back there. You guys have no idea, you haven't been to Waterford and seen that, where the lots are about a third of the size, and there's as many, if not more, boats and everything else on there, so, where you can't get, you know, it becomes a fire hazard condition because, you know, fire trucks don't even get back in there, that's how bad it was, because there's parts of the road. So I understand what that looks like. So you guys are not quite there, so I'm kind of happy to see that, despite, you know, some of the stress I've heard from. But, you know, for example, like I've worked in the city of Flushing, outside of Flint, you know, and that's kind of like the gateway to, you know, northern Michigan, where everyone kind of works, but they're kind of just RVing all the time. And there's plenty of RVs parked everywhere in that community. So, you know, I have just brought with me just an example. I don't want to share it with you guys, but just like, you know, this is their RV vehicle trailer language, and it's literally a page and a half, and it's essentially about 15 lines, and it just clearly defines where it goes, where it can't be, and it allows a decent amount of flexibility that's workable. So, you know, I think that's what we want to do, is strike a balance here where people are happy with it, at the same time we're removing any kind of problems that we see in the community, you know, where it's just a predominant feature of the house, as you see about blocks. It's been there for 25 years. It's a challenge with a tarp that's been there from 1985. So,
It's all ripped and,
Yeah.
you know, it sounded like the water was flattened.
Yeah.
Yeah. no,
Yeah, and that exists especially in beaches. I mean, I know two of the HOA persons would love to have that fixed. As would I.
Yeah, no, in the beach areas, we've always had special ordinance for everything.
Right, because it's the resort district.
It's a resort district.
Right.
But,
A lot was lost.
yeah, we need to have an RDA district.
Sure.
That's, we don't have that. Oh, yeah, you need, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
I know.
we know, right? We know. Lot size
not a
and,
compliant lot in the district.
I agree, they're 40 by,
Yeah.
they do that. Yeah, that's something maybe you weren't aware of, that we probably need to be looking at a special district, probably to, if we're gonna look at, lot sizes that would not be less than 6,000 square feet or whatever. But being a district only, and that's because the beaches are just, you know, the R1, R1R.
So the
district.
way I understand is your recreational districts, there's only one mistake, and that's established under different statutes, but you guys recognize that to some degree. I think what we want to keep here is a district is a type of use. The lake district is a residential use. Right? I understand the lots are not conforming. You could have language, you know, in your residential districts that is, you know, focused on that area. And we could create language within the recreational vehicle, boat storage, all that, that is, you know, focused on just that district alone. But the challenge there is, if it's too small, then can you put it in there, right? So, you know, I think it's good to have one that's township-wide, that applies to everyone. If you guys need to have some sort of other design standards that would be pertaining to that recreational district, that is something that you guys can consider and maybe talk about during my technical analysis of what that looks like to you guys. So I think my task here for you is also to think about what is it you want to see and not see
based on technical analysis, so I can put into consideration to then come back with a revised technical analysis for that. That kind of strikes a balance between what works in that community, that part of the town, as well as the rest of the town as a whole.
So you're going back to, 517 and just basically looking at it totally again?
Yeah, I'm going through 517 and doing it now.
We were there a year ago, or a little over a year ago.
I was there last week.
No, you weren't, we were.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for more than one meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended up back at the board and saying, well, maybe we just need to look at the whole thing again. It's kind of not-
Yeah, it really is that way.
I'm not against that, I just,
I understand.
It was a lot of questions and debate on, it really was, so.
Well, I understand that. I mean, ultimately, I don't make the decision. This board, this commission, the planning commission makes that decision. So the thing is I can bring back to you language that I think would work for you. But ultimately, the commission, despite the fact that you're gonna get pushback, you get pushback from everything and anything. And that's a community voicing its opinions, but at the same time, appointed and elected officials have to make decisions that is in the best interest of the community. So in this case, yeah, there will be, and I've seen it before, and I'll see it, continue to see it, but you're gonna have to make a decision as to what works for your community, because right now, what you have in place is just all over the place. It makes no sense. There's no, if someone were to come to me and say I have an issue, I really could not tell you where the line of the sand is. You have to at least draw a line of the sand. Now, I mean, you can come back and say, we're gonna allow 5 boats and 3 trailers, fine. But you gotta make a rule as to how many it is, because right now, there just really isn't anything. It is just whatever it is, when it's there.
16 years ago that
It was, right.
we shrunk it down to 4.
But that did exist. The number did exist.
Yeah,
So,
so-
I mean, I think a lot of it was just, we decided to take a big slash. That was like, oh, well, hold on, we wanted this back, it should be in this area. It's already over here, but no one even bothered looking over there.
Yeah.
It was, that's why you're seeing it in a couple areas, because like, let's just add it. Oh, no one looked to see it was already there, we should change this, but we added that, so. But I'm for doing this, I mean, this is, we'll get you our ordinance 200 version, which addressed, I'll say 80% of this.
It did.
And when we went to clean it up somehow, we lost the 80%.
And with the master plan update, we're required to have, introduce a housing component too, so maybe that could be an opportunity for what Brian is talking about with non-conforming lots, perhaps.
Whichever one.
Yeah, right, I know. And perhaps even another area within the township, but it would have to be new construction that could maybe have like, smaller frame homes, not to an existing.
Yeah, there's a lot of language I've seen that
Yeah.
worked on that. Non-conformities around single-family homes is a little different than your commercial and industrial uses. So I don't like to focus too much on that right now. I understand there's a whole host of things that you like to work on in that district, regarding lot districts. But then to address that, you would then have to define your master plan saying, the Lake District, if you will, or whatever you want to name it, has its own district, and so therefore your table of use requirement, not your table of requirements where it talks about setbacks and lot sizes, that district is its own district as a whole. So
That's been my opinion.
so
And it really is, because it's unique to this.
Right.
I mean, it really is unique. I think we're the only one in the state.
Yeah, and so that's fine, but that has to be, what I'm trying to put as, if you're gonna pull back the layers of how that works and to establish that, which if that's what the community wants, that has to define the master plan in terms of the future land uses and the future land use map to then allow for that to be therefore created in the zoning ordinance if it's really necessary.
Yes.
So I do agree with you. That's what you guys want. That's how the process is.
100 years ago, they were all cottages.
Sure.
Yeah, I grew up in a cottage house. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can have 1,000 square foot next to 4,500 square foot. That It exists in the beaches, it's bizarre.
So we're gonna make a motion that we proceed with,
Same motion?
Huh?
The same
same motion, so we're gonna change it to 5.17 recreational.
Come back with suggestion, revised suggestion.
Yep, second. Motion by Bill, supported by Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Right, motion carries unanimously. Number 9, board reports, administrative update, administrative review update. What do you got?
That's me.
That's usually.
You guys have a land use that's at 1837 North Monroe. I just finished up my review. We're gonna send a letter back to the applicant for some revisions before it comes back to you. There's a lot of information that's missing on the plans that is incomplete.
Which was 1837?
At, Cheers. Cheers is coming back with a gas station.
Oh, the gas station. Okay.
Drive-through, special land use, convenience store all in one. There's just some information that need to come back. to have a
Yeah,
complete
I'll be applicant here, so I'll take the note from you regarding the.
Sure.
changes and the-
Yeah, you'll see that letter like probably next week. I can walk through that. That's all I have.
Township board report.
Mine really was covered with the, yeah, I wanted to get that corrected.
CBA?
Yeah, we had 4 cases last month. 2 of them dealt with accessory structures. Okay, and people are over their size limits, but they're not far enough up to the next limit on this accessory structure chart. One of the things that I was actually requested to come is that, should we address that to a different way of determining that square footage on that chart? Because it has big gaps where people gain several acres, but they're not allowed anymore. So it's something that, of course, I don't think we're making any recommendations or anything tonight, but something that we may want to look at here. Because we seem to be getting a lot of requests for it through the ZBA. That was one of the requests by a member to see if we should look at it again. Have it set right, it stays the same, we're right, then it stays.
You're saying like the total number of accessory
More like
structures?
square footage.
Okay.
Most of that. Total numbers, that's not really a big thing.
Okay, but the size of the accessory structure?
Yeah, and, the ordinance specifies a zoning compliance from 200 square feet under.
Mhm.
And then above that, there's a gray area between the 200 and the building code. So above 200, we require a building.
Building permit, right?
So there's some caveats there that come into play that could probably be looked at.
It's just something to bring up there. The other one we dealt with, was a pond, and there may be some clarification that could be provided there on that ordinance too. No, it's.
Man-made or?
Yeah. And then there was actually a combination where there was going to be a demolition of a house. They're combining because they wouldn't allow the accessory structure, or there was no house, so this combining with adjoining property they own.
Oh, okay.
And it was over the square footage, but they weren't adding anything. Actually, they turned down.
Oh, yeah, that's the.
That's why they're-
Absolutely,
Yeah, that's why they're. So, but that is something that I still, some members of the class that it comes up quite often. I mean, if we've got right, then we leave.
Yeah,
Or, okay, there's some chambers.
nicer accessory buildings out there, they're over 200 square foot.
Oh, yeah, a lot. We're really talking the bigger ones, a lot of times. People have more acreage, okay, maybe they're over 10. But they're still not allowed, they're limited. And I'm not
not saying they shouldn't be limited.
Yeah.
To what extent, are we on the right course?
Yeah, it's to deal with the actual primary structure size compared to the accessory structure size.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine, I absolutely like looking at it.
You look at it,
Well, quite honestly, if we have our zoning right, you should be denying ZBA 90% of what's in front of
Right,
Right.
and if we're not, then we've got to
It
look
should
at
more be, hey, my house burned down, I want to rebuild it, but I know it's a non-conforming lot, but I'm building the same blueprint, yes, ZBA should grant that. But if we're constantly granting, and I'll bring up signs, because Alex loves signs. You know, if we're constantly approving pole signs, then we need to say, well, rewrite our ordinance, because the ZBA is just gonna approve every pole sign. And that's how it was in the 80s and 90s. I remember they wouldn't even show it up. The person would come up here and go, here's 5 signs I need approved. And it was $50, you give them the $50 and they just granted them. I'm just like, okay,
that's
not the way to
That's
do it.
not
I
the
mean,
way
so
to
if
do
we're
it.
doing things right, they should, 90% should be declined, and they should be special.
Absolutely.
So if we're granting 90%, we have to rewrite our ordinance. There's not that many special reasons. Okay, anything else?
So are you asking him to look into the?
In the master plan. Well, in the zoning ordinances, either him or actually us, I would say, just as much as Alex, okay? Does what we have fit this community? Okay, I guess that's what I would ask people to look at.
Well, I mean, two of the questions point back to me, Chair, so, I mean, it's what your community wants. If you have language that's been working, but you have now accessory structures, perhaps in certain districts, just based on my experience, that are probably just bigger, just because folks have acreage and want to put their boats and RVs and all their fun stuff in there, and that's great, but, you know, there's different ways to tackle it. You could have just total square footage, you could say certain percentages. I mean, I like to make things as clear as possible, so that when folks, either I'm reviewing it, you're approving it, or the building official or staff are approving it, it's pretty, well understood in terms of what the size or dimensions are. So if you're allowing something that's over 200 square feet, you know, typically you're looking at building permits, because it becomes a public safety.
Yeah, I don't
issue.
do that.
And then the question becomes, you know, what districts allow what size accessory structure? So that could be something that is somehow addressed in your goals, in your master plan process to allow for accessory structures. Then it becomes a discussion of, you know, the intent and use of these accessory structures. I've seen this often, time and time again, throughout Michigan, in terms of, are these just for storage, or are these for, you know, other types of permitted uses? That's for you guys to decide.
I thought it would go more under ordinances.
Yeah, it also goes into ordinance, but I think you want to at least address it or make mention of your master plan in terms of your goals for your overall community. You have accessory structures, but, you know,
So separate ordinance or expand the ordinance? And do we want to tackle one after these two? You know what I'm saying, 'cause we got the
Yeah.
sign and the recreation.
I could come back with like a memo, like I just did now, just saying what you have, and then we can kind of go into that, you know, if, you know, just to give you just a look at what I'm seeing.
You think it's needed here in the next 2 months or? After these are,
It could be after these.
yeah, I was thinking after these.
Yeah, I'll look at, I mean, I can try to get it.
an agenda, I'll be right back on the ordinance, so it's not a rush. So just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. Thank you.
Any comments is important to me.
Master plan?
I guess I was gonna say, with that, what Fred had brought up, maybe we look at 503B8. Yeah, because it talks, that's what I said, it has to deal with acreage and then footprints of the primary, yeah.
You know, after this master.
Yeah.
have nothing, I've been told that that's, just on hold till whenever the board wants to work on, or whenever the, I've been checking with Carmen on it, and see, but my understanding is the township board has put a clause on it,
I think it's us.
to see the,
Oh, actually, there's just waiting the demographic data.
are you waiting on it?
No, we have the, no, let me rephrase it. We're waiting for the presentation of the demographic data, which this board has received already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually waiting on.
Yeah, it hasn't been presented to the township board. I mean,
Please let me know so we can.
I mean, probably make an agenda item and be done with it. Maybe you guys, we have, I probably even have a copy of the PowerPoint myself, so.
The next planning commission meeting is May 21st.
Jules won't be here, possibly third.
So we'll see how that
We'll
goes.
see.
Next on the agenda, public comment. Do a public want to, state your name?
There's one right over there.
You guys want to read, anybody want me to read what you really usually read about comments?
Oh.
No.
Okay, Kim Jarmo. I just want to say that, I'm really glad that you guys are doing the moratorium. And, I really hope you guys will consider some citizens on the committee, to oversee it. And I hope that you'll consider asking Rick Fife from Berlin and Josh Stone from Bedford, because they both offered, to help write the zoning. And they both already done it. So if you don't have the numbers, I can give them to you, but I think they would help. And then with the campers. Oh, and I want to say, I just want to make sure you guys need to do zoning to protect us and not to accommodate for campers, because I'm sure you know by now we don't want one. So, and with the campers, I'm a little worried about that, because I have a 20-foot Winnebago, nice little camper. I tow it up north in the summer, my first trip, and then I leave it up there, either on my property or at my friend's house. I take it, pick it up, go to UP, all over the place. I bring it home for winter, I winterize it, I cover it. I have concrete driveway and a little knockout next to it. I have a little skinny one-car garage. I live on the golf course, they're not gonna want that in the backyard. They're kind of picky on the country club golf course about your backyards. And, there's no way I can even put it in my backyard. I've got a ladder on this side, and I've got a big ditch in the front. So I have nowhere else to put my camper. The only time I've ever had a problem with my camper is I've owned houses like in 4 other states and up north. The only time I've ever had a problem with my camper is when I'm in an HOA. Then I expect it. But where I live now, I don't expect it. And I don't think the golf course would want it back behind. I don't even know how I get it back there. But I mean, I take care of it, I cover it, Trust me, it blocks the blight that I have to look at my neighbor's house. So I kind of like it in my driveway. Kind of blocks their blight that I think I'm gonna go clean up for them in about a month here. So, cause she's over. But, yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys would consider that when you think about campers, cause this isn't recreation. Yeah. I practically live in Maryland this summer. I'm always up north, so, okay, thanks.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Hello, Jill Schiller, Stony Point Beach. As you can see, my shirt says Michigan Walleye. My husband is obviously a fisherman. We also own a boat or two, but that's okay. Alex, I would like to say I really liked what you said when you said the board is the stewards of the community. I'm gonna send that to the board members because they need to know that. So the storage usage, the boats, the sheds, the campers. Let's talk about houses. I don't care about campers. I don't care about boats. Look at the houses and the beaches. Someone's got to do something with these houses. Come to Stony Point, come to my house, and we'll take a tour. I'm on the board. Been there a year. This is being recorded, so I'm gonna flash this number to you guys. If you can't see it, I'll walk up. This is how much money we are in back dues from residents in my HOA. It's a lot of money. I have a meeting next Tuesday if you guys wanna come, and you can see the list of people that don't pay their dues. My dues are cheap down there. We're all in the beaches, we understand, but to go against leave the house, the camper, or leave the campers, the boats for right now, let's concentrate on I know you guys have nothing to do with the RDA, and I understand that, but these houses are falling apart. Their fences are down, I'm just saying, let's go after other things than campers and boats right now. Let's go after some houses. Detroit Beach, I can name 3 of them off the top of my head. Woodland Beach, Indian Trails, there's quite a few, but I wasn't even gonna talk about that tonight until you guys started to. So that's a lot of money that we don't even have equipment for the kids. So I've been there 25 years. I guess the same equipment that's been in our big park's been there 100 years. I mean, it's older stuff. But we can't even get new stuff because I can't even get people to pay their dues. Again, not your problem, but it is special. So when you live in a beach, all holds bar. It is completely different community than it is on Vivian versus beaches are very different. So, thank you. That's all I wanted to say, and thanks again
What
for.
time is your meeting?
My meeting is at 7 o'clock, third Tuesday of the month.
Even
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it's at Stony Point Beach Garage. If you guys wanna come, if you're more than welcome to, I'll take you a tour, I'll show you everything, but all the beaches are different. So the house that I built my house, I bought a half acre. My land used to be a carnival, I guess, before I got a berm. Oh, and we're the only ones without the seawall too, just to let y'all know, cause they ran out of money. They used to have carnival down there on my property, which I never knew. I just learned that a couple of years ago. The house behind me is built in 1928 and still has the original heart-shaped door because that was the honeymoon suite. So they still have a little heart in it. So I'm learning, and the house next to me used to be yellow because that would bring in the ships to show them how close they were to land. So I have learned about all of this, but again, I would rather, let's focus on the houses, fences, the animals.
The seawall is not being completed currently because Eagle right now is preventing us from moving forward.
Yeah, in Stony Point Peninsula, correct. I'm in Stony Point Beach.
Okay.
So we were told by the RDA that we will never have one. And we just spent a lot of money on tearing down some trees last year. Because they let it grow up, but that's besides the point. But we have been told numerous times that we are not getting a seawall because of the erosion factor. So, but yeah, I just want to say thanks again, and you guys are my favorite still, so thank you.
Public comment?
Hi, Maria Gonzalez. I live in Indian Trails. I have a RV. I have a motorhome, and it is sitting in one of my rental houses that is vacant that I bought for my grandson. So nobody lives there. It's the only vehicle in the driveway. I got a blight on it. It's on concrete. They came out, they told me to move it to the other side, because I cannot put it on the side of the property, because it's not it's not concrete or nothing, and it slopes down. And on the other side, it's not my property. And they wanted me to move my vehicle, put it up on blocks in front of the bedroom double doors, which didn't make no sense to me. It's on concrete, I own the property, the banks do not, I pay the property taxes, it's not got busted windows, nothing. I don't see why I cannot have it there. If I have other vehicles where they're parking in the yard or whatever, I understand that. But one lousy vehicle, and I got a blight on it. And I feel that since I own the property, I should be able to park it there. I cannot park it behind the property because I'd have to go my neighbors to go around and put it in the backyard. Then it wouldn't even be on, concrete. It'd be on grass and it'd sink. So, I mean, if you guys wanna limit the number of recreational vehicles, I understand that. Or if you got 2 boats or whatever, and you got parked cars in the yard because of the drains. But if it's the only vehicle there and no other vehicles are being parked in the yard or on the side of the road or anything, I think we should, be able to park our vehicles there. Because, I mean, like everybody said, we got state park here. We go camping, people got boats, that's why we live in Lake Erie. In the summertime, you go up north with your vehicles. And as far as like finding a place to park it, like Mazur's down here, he's full. You gotta go all the way up on West Road or by West Road, and then you gotta worry about your catalytic converter being cut off and the expense of it. So I'd like you guys to,
Brought his concerns to the building department.
Yeah, because when he came out and my neighbor has a boat in his driveway and he said he's okay because he has no place to put it. I didn't have no place to put it, but he wanted me to put it in the yard up on blacks and it's in the concrete driveway. So, I mean.
It's an odd situation because typically the owner of the RV would need to be also in the primary house as well. But I mean, maybe there's something that can be done. I don't know. It's really the building department with this.
Well, I can't because my driveway slopes like this, and we tried doing that, and the tailpipe pits and everything. And right now, I got my 2 grandsons living with me permanently. The one's driving. I got my son, so we got cars up to Wazoo. So we can't park it there because we got enough vehicles in our driveway. So, I mean, as long as it's not hurting nothing, and it's not got broken windows, and doesn't have yes, it's operable, everything. It should be able to stay in, my driveway that I, bought and paid for and everything. So, that's all I have to say, and thank you for doing the moratorium, and I wanna commend you guys that when you go to the board meeting, when people are up here talking, they go like this, they're looking at their phone or whatever else. You guys at least, not all of them, some of them, yeah, come and look, and when somebody's up here speaking, they're like this. They should be looking at us. They should at least have that much respect for us, whether they like that we don't want the data center or not. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Any other public comments?
I don't even know either.
You know.
I'm gonna talk about the data center. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read this book, but anybody that's involved in this decision, I highly suggest you do. It's called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Burstall.
What is it?
The Invisible Rainbow. The works cited is that thick. So this is not just any textbook that you're just gonna grab, anything like that. I'm just gonna read a little excerpt from it. So according to an MIT review that was published back in June of 2025, data centers are gonna start pulling, right now they're pulling about 4.4% of energy or of electricity. The next couple of years, it's gonna end up tripling. So I just wanna read you guys some of the effects that have been reported from electricity. That includes dizziness, nausea, headaches, nervousness, irritability, mental confusion, depression, insomnia, drowsiness, fatigue, weakness, numbness and tingling, muscle and joint pains, muscle spasms, cramps, backaches, heart palpitations, chest pain, colic, diarrhea, constipation, nosebleeds, hemorrhage, itching, tremors, seizures, paralysis, fever, respiratory infection, shortness of breath, coughing, wheezing, asthma attacks, eye pain, weakness, fatigue, ringing in ears, and metallic taste. So I just want to leave you guys with a quote that I think is really powerful. This is Arthur Furstenberg. Very good, very good book. All right. And the quote reads, once you perceive what lies beneath the surface, and once you glimpse the truth behind the polite illusions that we see, you're faced with terrible choices. Sometimes do we speak out or do we remain silent? If you speak, sometimes you'll disturb their dream. If you stay silent, you're going to disturb your soul. Sometimes it's not just a simple dilemma. It's an ancient struggle between truth and belonging, authenticity and acceptance. Sometimes when you speak and when you dare to name what others will deny, you risk being cast out, and not always gently. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank.
Marlene on Beach, I had a couple of things that really wasn't great, but I'm gonna make a few comments. One, I have been, included in what it has been receiving as the ongoing "this is what can happen" phase. So I wanted to talk about, this isn't what I want to talk about, Zhang H., a global assessment of data center driven heat islands. Please look into heat islands. It's a really big thing. The study analyzed 6,733 AI data centers worldwide and found they increase surrounding land surfaces temperatures by creating a measurable data heat island that can extend up to 6.2 miles. Given this peer-reviewed evidence that data centers create multi-mile heat islands capable of damaging ecosystems, raising household energy bills, and increasing community heat stress risk. What I'm asking is, what is our plan to prevent these harms before approving any construction permits? Just what I had to say. And the second thing was, I asked Bellino once, I said, why would you primary someone in your party? And he said, because no one can get a blight as long as the supervisor has one. So when we talk blight, I always remember what he said. Now what I was going to talk about, I'm working on a proposal that I feel is a community vision. I've been talking to people, and this is just one of the extras to help your community. I do have in my packet ways that we can make money, but right now I wanted to hand this to you. So you can pass it around.
Yes, of course.
As I read it. Okay. That's Spencer and Gabby become friends. That's when he sees this magical wheels. He looks up in the glee, and it's a girl with bright eyes, a pink mobility device, covered in stickers. She smiles when she sees Spencer. Her mommy signs while she says her name is Gabby. And Spencer grabs his speech device and says, Spencer. Neither speak with words. Spencer runs to the merry-go-round he loves. To spin and feel dizzy, he taps the rail twice to say, let's go. Gabby's mommy rolls her to the platform beside him. Both are happy. Next, they glide toward the adaptive swing, where Gabby leans back and lets the sky open up above her. Spencer gives a little push, his face glowing with pride. At the roller slide, Spencer slides down and squeals with delight, loving the bumpy rhythm beneath him. Gabby places her hand on the rollers, feeling the vibration. Two children experiencing the same joy in two different ways. They follow a painted trike road. Spencer pretends to fix all those wheels while Gabby rolls along the path as fast as she can. They are wrapped in the same imagined world. On the grassy hill, Spencer climbs the top, turning to wait down to Gabby, and she waits for him to come down as he goes back and forth and back and forth. She can't stop giggling as he runs down. Gabby wheels across the bright letters even, while Spencer hops from shape to shape, ground level play zone. Gabby's wheels across the bright, well, let me just go here. They never speak. They never need to. Their friendships grows in gestures and shared glances and matching smiles, both of them. Welcome to Frenchtown, where we build spaces with love. Let's play. And that one, I have so many, if you see these, so many of grants that we could apply for this. And I hope you got to see this, but this is what I saw in my vision plan. And I even put it as far as to place it on the property. I don't know if I brought that one. But I even showed where it could actually be placed on the property. But I'm gonna be real quick and just say the other things. The other things that will make money is I have an idea for 20 front plus stores that can go in that front area near the parking lot. In there, we can find wedding people because you know they're gonna love that area. And I plan on doing a money maker. We can do a micro chapel. Looked around, there's no one here. I also looked at Brighton, and I looked at Ann Arbor about our village. And I thought, well, we don't have that. And I started researching comparatively, and guess what? They didn't have the money. They built it and they came. And that was one of my money-making things. The other thing I was gonna say is Spencer gets a little bit too sensory overloaded. So we have a You Belong garden. They go in there, there's a little sunflower circle that he can sit in, little tree thing, hut that he can sit in, and different projects that give these kids a place of nature healing, because that's really big, and that is researched and can be proven. And in here,
3 minutes and we've given you 6.
oh, I'm sorry, I'll shut up. But
No, it's
anyhow,
fine. I
just wanted to say, I've been working on this is just
Well, it's
one
nice-
quarter.
It's nice to see somebody bring ideas up here rather than.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I talked 6 minutes, but.
No, that's fine. I just
I am
gave you
excited.
extra. I just wanted to.
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
I do love that, because a lot of them was like, do something else with it. Well, I don't know, that's your job.
You guys can keep that.
You're right to me.
Yeah. Any other public comments?
I did want to mention, I don't remember your name, but.
Paul.
Paul, yes.
I was
Paul.
gonna say, you don't remember mine?
I don't hear you. I did, after that meeting the following day, because you had mentioned the hole in the fence, I contacted, the director of nuclear security personally, and
Just real quick too, somebody that works there said that that wasn't a primary fence, that it was a secondary,
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
too concerned about it, so.
yeah,
I brought it up because I didn't know.
there's
I
a,
mean,
no,
you got a nuclear facility, there's a
That's
big
right.
hole where there should be a fence, it was just a little concerning.
there's really what's called owner control area and protected area.
Okay,
And actually, there's actually intrepid fencing and there's an owner, protected area fencing.
well, I appreciate that,
Yeah, but I did contact them the very next day, and
I appreciate that.
they're gonna look into it simply because we don't want, people tracking in there, hunting, possibly poaching, whatever.
Hunting.
Thank you, though, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet.
Turkeys, pheasant.
Any other public comment? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Motion made.
Exactly. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I thought this said 804,000. How the heck did you get that high? I can see it.
So that's all.